Iran has issued one of its most sweeping threats of the conflict yet, warning that if Israel attacks the Iranian embassy in Beirut, every Israeli embassy around the world becomes a legitimate target. Armed Forces spokesperson Brigadier General Abolfazl Shekarchi made the warning on Wednesday, quoted by the semi-official Tasnim news agency. Israel has threatened to target the Iranian embassy in Lebanon, he said. If Israel attacks Iran's embassy, all of this regime's embassies will be legitimate targets. The Brigadier General also claimed Iran had, despite its relevant bellicose capacity, so far respected the rules of international law, a pointed contrast, he suggested, to Israel's conduct. Israel has no limits in its military actions, he said. Shekarchi was also careful to frame Iran's conflict as narrowly defined. Apart from the United States and Israel, the Islamic Republic of Iran has neither conflict nor hostility with other countries of the world and conducts its relations on the basis of engagement, he said. A message aimed at Gulf states, Turkey, and others caught in the crossfire of the widening war. Embassies are protected under the Vienna Convention. However, Iranian missiles have targeted U.S. diplomatic missions across the Middle East since the start of the conflict.
Several American embassies across the Middle East are now shutting down, evacuating staff, and suspending operations as the conflict between the United States, Israel, and Iran spirals. What began as coordinated weekend strikes by Washington and Tel Aviv on Iranian targets has now triggered sweeping retaliation, and U.S. diplomatic missions are caught in the fallout. The U.S. Embassy in Bahrain is closed. In Kuwait, Americans have been told to stay indoors. In Jordan, diplomatic staff were temporarily evacuated on Monday following a threat. Across the region, Americans were instructed to shelter in place until further notice. Evacuates Mid-East missions. The U.S. State Department has issued a worldwide caution alert for all Americans overseas. It is the first such alert since June 22, 2025, when the United States intervened in the 12-day conflict between Israel and Iran. The State Department does not publicly disclose the full size of its diplomatic footprint, making it unclear how many Americans are currently stationed across the Middle East. But what is clear is this: operations are being disrupted at scale. In Saudi Arabia, the situation escalated dramatically. According to Saudi Arabia's defense ministry, 2 drones struck the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh. The attack reportedly caused a limited fire and minor material damage to the building. A loud blast was heard early Tuesday morning. Flames were seen rising from the embassy compound. Black smoke drifted over Riyadh's diplomatic quarter, an area that houses numerous foreign missions. Reuters reported there were no injuries, as the building was empty during the early morning hours. Saudi authorities say they intercepted and destroyed 8 additional drones near Riyadh and Al-Kharj. On Monday, State Department officials urged Americans to depart from a wide list of countries: Bahrain, Egypt, Iran, Iraq, Israel, the West Bank and Gaza, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Syria, the United Arab Emirates, and Yemen. The advisory reflects growing fears that the conflict could widen further and quickly. President Donald Trump suggested the war could last a month or longer. U.S. and Israeli forces have struck multiple Iranian targets, including Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps command and control facilities, air defense systems, missile and drone launch sites, and military airfields. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed in the attacks. The cost has been high for U.S. too. 6 U.S. service members have been killed in action. 18 more have been seriously wounded. Inside Iran, the Iranian Red Crescent says more than 200 people have been killed and roughly 700 injured. Secretary of State Marco Rubio addressed Americans directly in a video posted on X. "Our #1 priority," he said, "is the safety and security of American citizens everywhere in the world. But conditions on the ground remain fluid."
At the Department of State, our #1 priority is the safety and the security of American citizens everywhere in the world. Now, with what's going on in the Middle East with Operation Epic Fury and the cowardly attacks that we're seeing from Iran against Gulf countries, I wanted to take this chance to speak directly to Americans who are in the Middle East about the work we are doing to try to keep you safe. So immediately following the beginning of this operation, at my direction, the State Department activated a 24/7 task force, surging personnel and resources necessary to help provide American citizens with up-to-the-minute safety and security information. Now, in order to receive these updates from the nearest U.S. embassy or consulate, you have to register with the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. You have to register with STEP, and here's where you do it. You go to step.state.gov. That's step.state.gov and register so we can reach you. We also encourage Americans abroad to follow our security updates for U.S. citizens channel on WhatsApp and follow @TravelGov on social media as well. The latest alerts are also available on travel.state.gov. That's our website, travel.state.gov. Finally, Americans in the Middle East, you can reach the Department of State 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at the following phone number: 1-202-501-4444. That's 1-202-501-4444.
In Bahrain, after a strike on the Crown Plaza Hotel in Manama, Americans were warned to avoid all hotels which may be potential targets. The U.S. Embassy there remains closed. All regular and emergency consular appointments have been canceled. In the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Iraq, and much of Pakistan, U.S. consular appointments have also been suspended. In Kuwait, the warning is even starker. With continued threats of missile and drone attacks, Americans have been told not to go outside. Instead, they are being instructed to shelter at home, on the lowest floor, away from windows. Kuwait's airspace remains closed. All U.S. visa services and American citizen service appointments have been canceled until further notice. In Israel, Americans hoping for evacuation were told the U.S. Embassy is not in a position at this time to evacuate or directly assist in departures from Israel. Meanwhile, non-emergency diplomatic staff and their families have been authorized to leave several countries. On Sunday, embassies in Kuwait, Qatar, and Bahrain approved voluntary departures. The U.S. Embassy in Israel did so on Friday. In Lebanon, non-emergency staff were ordered to leave last Monday. From Riyadh to Doha, from Manama to Jerusalem, U.S. diplomatic operations across the Middle East are scaling back, shutting down, or evacuating personnel. Americans in the region are being urged to leave where possible, or shelter in place where they cannot. As the conflict intensifies and retaliation continues, the evacuation of U.S. embassies has become a defining signal. The region is no longer just a battlefield of strikes.